Major Howell, we saw the emotional reunion at the end of that piece. Mohammed is back in Iraq. How is he doing?
He's doing pretty good. He is spending a lot of his time playing soccer. There's no school during the summertime, and he's reunited with his friends, and seems like he's back with the same group of kids that he was with before.
And we want to remind folks that we have a lot more on the story on our website at MSUtoday.msu.edu. We've done pieces with you, and we've got a tremendous response from this set of stories. Did this turn out the way you had hoped when you got into this?
It actually turned out better than I had hoped. When I got into it, or in the beginning, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. There were many things that were still not determined, and thanks to Dr. Lannigan and Charles, everything had a happy ending.
Doctors, why take this on?
Well, we were overjoyed to be involved in it. Charles was in the National Guard for many years and so forth, and a lot of members of my family have been in the military, and just the fact that first of all, just there was a kid that needed help, and we were glad to do that anyway, but especially the fact that his dad was a hero of the war and actually gave his life to try to bring freedom to his people. We were just more than happy to do it, and we couldn't wait to get involved.
What were some of the major challenges in dealing with Mohammed and with these surgeries?
The biggest thing I found was getting him to accept what we were doing for him, because he was very skeptical and questioned everything. And even though he spoke the language, he didn't really know all of our little different colloquial uses of terminology, and so that was a big hurdle we had to get over.
We heard a little bit about how you came across Mohammed and got all that started. When you first met him and got involved, were you expecting to be quite as complicated and involved as getting the ball rolling on this as it was?
I had no idea all the steps that were involved. You know, I just thought that I could pick up the phone and talk to someone like Charles, and then, you know, when I came back with my unit, that Mohammed would be with me and we could get him right in and start the surgery and everything else. But, you know, life intervenes. My unit came back, so I had to leave him back there, and eventually I went back and got him 4 months later. But there was the whole passport situation, the visa situation, the fundraising situation. He had some other medical issues in terms of his vision, and he had dental issues. There were issues in terms of finding a sponsor where he could live in a home where they had the same customs and traditions that he was used to, had to find a school for him. And so there were probably about, 10 different steps, and it wasn't as simple as I thought it was going to be.
This was a kid that was living in poverty, was on the street a lot of the time. And for the last interview that we did with him, you came in and he was talking on a cell phone. He was playing a handheld video game. Going back to a place that doesn't even have dependable electricity. What's that adjustment like for him?
Well, it's been a huge adjustment. One story I like to tell is that he's a big baseball fan, and at the grandparents' home in the host family, they had the MLB network there, and he liked to watch it. And I can remember just a week before we were going to make the trip back, he was at my house and he was complaining that I didn't have the MLB network. And and here's someone who's going back to a lifestyle where electricity comes from a generator, power is sporadic, and so it has been a tremendous adjustment for him going back. I know I talked to him one night, and he was waiting in line at a video store to go in and play a video game, and this was probably at about 11:30 his time. And the store, the neighborhood that he described was probably about 2 or 3 miles away from his house. So
the lure of video games is pretty strong.
Oh yeah, and he knew how to play video games before he came over here. One of the first things he did when after the welcome ceremony that the National Guard had was we took him to the Lansing Mall and we bought him some shoes because he had no shoes. And then we came home, and he quickly, picked up the controller and started to play, a video game. So something like that, I think, is almost universal.
We'll be back after this.